all over the walls, the floor, the ceiling.
You can stop at 5 or 6 stores or just one.
What up, all you dirty dogs out there? Michael Prims here, and today we will be counting down the top 10 albums of 2020. 2020 has been a depressing, strange, and mostly terrible year. Counting down the best movies of 2020 would be a tough thing to do since I didn't go to the theater in a goddamn gas mask this year. However, like many others, I spent countless days inside listening to some truly great music. Coming in at number 10, it's No Dream by Jeff Rosenstock. This is a fun and loud punk record from a musician that really can't do any wrong. Like many other albums he's made, I find myself going back to it a lot and noticing a quirky line or a fun chord change up each time. My favorite song is the one about a guy whose mom converts his room into an Airbnb when he leaves the house. I admire Jeff Rosenstock for fusing these funny lines reminiscent of Blink-182 releases with the power punk of bands like Pup and Jay Reatard. I can't wait to be jumping around in a mosh pit to this album when concerts can come back once again. Number 9, it's Suddenly by Caribou. This new album from Caribou sees electronica megastar Dan Snaith at his most vulnerable and soulful. Snaith's sudden shifts from mellow vocals to collages of synth passages, warped crooning, and pitch-shifted samples are melded together to create a sound that's uniquely Caribou. This album showcases Snaith's incredible production and skill as a beatmaker, as well as his ability for manufacturing catchy hooks and hitting us with slick, butter notes repeated just the right amount of times. See the soul sample on Home or the chanting mixed with driving house music bass on Never Come Back. Although there are plenty of upbeat trance-like rhythms on Suddenly, there is also an emphasis on melancholy introspection through its lyrics. Snaith's vocals on tracks like Magpie have me thinking of Brian Wilson, while a track like Lime reminds me a lot of Tom York. This must-listen album takes synth pop to bold and beautiful directions. My pick for number 8 is the Neon Skyline by Andy Schaaf. This 2020 release from Andy Schaaf is a lot more stripped down than his last release, one of my favorites called The Party. I kind of wished for the more grandiose orchestral passages that made The Party as great as it was, but there's still a lot to love here. It's a concept album about two former lovers meeting in the Skyline Bar in the Parkdale neighborhood of Toronto. Here's me at the Skyline Bar in February before shit hit the fan. It touches on themes of nostalgia diluting memory, life in stagnation without change, and surface-level relationships without a deeper emotional connection. This is all set to some very diverse instrumentation and Andy Schaaf's classic, Randy Newman-inspired vocals. This is an ode to telling tales of the fun nights in the city where anything can happen that we all miss so much, and a testament to Andy Schaaf's talent as a storyteller. Coming in at number 7, it's Magic 10 Point Never by 10 Point Never. This album from composer, experimental electronic musician, and inventor of vaporwave, Daniel Lopatin as 10 Point Never has some of the best songs he has ever put out. The concept of the album is a mystical journey through the radio dial, perhaps on a rainy night spent driving on the freeway. It was based on the Boston radio station 106.7, where Lopatin got his name from. Although I think that this album's flaws lie in its filler in order to paint this picture, the songs between the transitions are amazing. The new age music inspired Long Road Home, the Burial inspired hauntological dance music number I Don't Love Me Anymore, and the lush keys and shimmering synths on the Weather Channel are all amazing. Also, I just gotta say that the recent team up between Daniel Lopatin and The Weeknd is a match made in heaven. Both musicians complement each other very well, and that's super evident on the track No Nightmares here, and on Lopatin's work on The Weeknd's After Hours that also came out this year. If you like the soundtrack of Uncut Gems as much as I did, you'll love this album. Coming in at number 6 is What's Your Pleasure by Jessie Ware. This album is a total escape to a world where 80s house music and disco reign supreme. It has me missing being able to dance in a club, even though I didn't even really go to clubs that much in normal times anyway. But it's definitely inspired me to dance around in my sweatpants like my bedroom is Studio 54. Seductive vocals and intoxicating beats across What's Your Pleasure make it an easy contender for repeat listening. It rings the same bells as Anita Ward, has me upside down like I'm listening to Diana Ross, and makes me want to don a tracksuit and grab an espresso like Italo disco is still hot.
Hey, ciao bello, you wanna go dancing? You wanna go dancing?
Italo, what the hell?
Wanna go dancing? What the heck?
Jessie Ware's energy here is unmatched, and I'll dance to this album until I can see the morning light. Number 5 is Nectar by Joji. This is an album that I'll say off the bat is probably not one of the best of the year, but it's certainly one of my favorites. I've been a long-time Filthy Frank fan, and when Joji released his debut lo-fi R&B EP In Tongues back in November of 2017, I was super into it. However, when Ballads 1 came out and it was more of a pop release than the moody and grainy R&B of In Tongues, I wasn't into it. I kind of packed up and got off the Joji train, honestly. However, Nectar is more of a combination of that lo-fi R&B sound with pop, rock, dance, and rap, and the sheer diversity here roped me back in. It seems like while there are so many genres packed into Nectar, they're all rooted in the In Tongues Joji sound as the base. There is a lot of filler on this album, and the Eve's Tumor feature was a little disappointing, but I love songs like Gimme Love, Tick Tock, Ew, and the Benny feature on Afterthought. I really enjoyed this album. It was the soundtrack of many late night walks around my neighborhood, and I hope that in 2021, I'll be walking around and not dodging people on the same side of the street as me to a new Pink Eye album. I don't know which one is less likely. Number 4 is How I'm Feeling Now by Charli XCX. Just like how Vera Lynn and Creedence Clearwater Revival are synonymous with making music that was rooted in the Second World War and the Vietnam War, respectively, this album could probably be used as a time capsule of life under quarantine. Written as a direct reaction to our current circumstances, Charli XCX put this album together all while being locked down in her home. She premiered songs, discussed ideas, and conferenced with her frequent collaborators such as producer A.G. Cook and 100 Gex Dylan Brady, all virtually via Zoom. The result is a hyper-pop masterpiece with lyrics that reference themes of anxiety, isolation, fear, and the fleeting of time, emphasized by cathartic synths, booming bass, jumpy percussion, and Charli's distinct, phaser-laden robot from the future style vocals. There's an irony in the quintessential Lockdown album being a future pop album. It reminds us that there is a future to look forward to where we will hopefully all feel differently. Number 3, it's Gospel for a New Country by Yves Tumor. Yves Tumor, whose real name is Sean Bowie, hones his craft in producing a new psychedelic world on this LP that is so far beyond anything he has done prior. He channels glam rock, the funky vocal grooves of Prince, psych indie production reminiscent of Damon Albarn, plunderphonics, and the chill wave sound of the early 2010s to create an album that I find myself coming across something new to like about it every time I put it on. Its shrieks, flashy production, and powerful guitar bits have me longing for a night on the town, looking for the next fix in a bar or restaurant. This feeling is only emphasized by the amount of variety found on this album. A key highlight here is the female vocal talent that Bowie has recruited to make songs like Kerosene and Romanticist really fly. This album is a little slice of heaven in a torturous time that smashes all borders and sucks you right in. To speak candidly for a second, this album kicks ass and I urge you to check it out. Alright, the top 2 best albums of 2020. What will they be? Let me first start off by saying that these 2 albums are neck and neck for number 1 of the year. There's not really too much of a difference in quality between them, but we gotta go in order. So the second best album of 2020 is Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. This is by far the best rap hip-hop album to come out this year. Freddie Gibbs' talent as a rapper makes him a chameleon that can adapt to any lush instrumentation and production thrown at him. Freddie's stacked bars, meeting The Alchemist's sample-laden and dreamy beats, make this release truly as dense as a plate of Alfredo pasta. It's an amazing follow-up to Freddie Gibbs' superb release last year, Bandana with Madlib. There are great features on here as well, from Tyler the Creator and Benny the Butcher. This is the music that I have in my head as I'm telling off people in the grocery stores and condo lobbies to put their goddamn mask on and get their shit hands away from me. This album is like lo-fi beats to kick someone's ass to. It's an odd thing to say when you're outside of Canada's wonderland. Aggressive and takes no shit, but so calm and direct in delivery. I haven't heard anything quite like it. Freddie Gibbs, if you're watching this, next time you're in Toronto, feel free to stop by my nonna's house for a plate of pasta. But it'll be a pasta con pomodoro, tomato sauce, none of that Americanats white sauce shit. I can't wait to see who Freddie Gibbs works with next, and this album rules. And the best album of 2020 is Punisher by Phoebe Bridges. This magnum opus of poignant lyricism, storytelling, dark and introspective melodies is an easy pick for the album that got me through the dark days of quarantine. Phoebe Bridges wears her influences of Elliott Smith, which the title track and double-tracked vocals pay tribute to, and Conor Oberst, who lends his vocals to Halloween and I Know the End, on her sleeve, but weaves a tapestry of bluegrass, punk, and emo, all her own, in creating one of the most original indie folk albums of the year. The overarching theme of this work is an honest confrontation with the end. Bridges bemuses on past people, situations, and relationships that have reached their conclusion throughout. Bridges becomes one with the end on the last track as a hail of screams and a crescendo of strings perhaps signal the dawn of a new day. With all the hype from music critics, Twitter stans, and even heavyweights in her corner such as Lars Ulrich and Kid Cudi, there's no end in sight for Phoebe Bridges. I can't wait to hear what she puts out next. And if you like this album, check out her work with Conor Oberst on Better Oblivion Community Center and her previous album named after a misquote in The Big Lebowski, Stranger in the Alps. Thank you so much for listening to my top 10 albums of 2020. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm an idiot for not including your favorite album, and I will gladly take it. And let me know what you think the best albums of 2020 are, and the worst albums and songs. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Michael Prims. Happy New Year, and all the best for a better 2021. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All over the walls, the floor, the ceiling,
You
and
can
it
stop at
stunk so bad.
5 or 6 stores or